radio squawked. When he stepped away to answer, Max resumed his stroll. Eliza had mentioned she wanted to discuss the Cherries' finances. He tamped down his annoyance. It was just like her to snap her fingers and not give him time to prepare. It had been the same when she'd contacted him to do the annual audit of the Cherries' books 2 years ago. The previous accountant had made a last-minute move to Florida, leaving her scrambling for a replacement. Max hadn't let himself be pushed, though she'd certainly tried. In the end, Eliza had been pleased with the thoroughness of his report. Not that she'd implemented any of his suggestions. The treasurer still used the old ledger method to keep track of accounts. The board still only met semi-annually, and they'd yet to bring anyone on to pursue grants. Those first 2 audits had been straightforward, with no blips. This year, it hadn't taken long for him to become concerned, then alarmed. Max assumed the meeting this morning was to discuss the steps the Cherries planned to take to remain solvent. He couldn't understand why Eliza had set such an important business meeting at Bloom's Bake Shop, a business owned by a woman she barely tolerated. Once again, he reminded himself that she was the client. As it was a beautiful day, Max waited outside the bakery, enjoying the sunshine and the cool breeze from the bay. Although it was barely 9 a.m., the quaint street already bustled with tourists. They scurried in and out of shops, reminding him of the pet mice he'd had as a kid. From the number of people entering Beckett Cross's Muddy Boots Cafe, Max wasn't surprised his friend's income had soared this year. He had no doubt these same tourists would be renting kayaks and sailboats later this morning before attending a fish boil or a performance at the Northern Sky Theater in the evening. But this crush was nothing compared to how it would be in several weeks. Visitors and locals would swarm the streets at the end of June to enjoy all the festivities the Cherries had planned. The week-long series of events would culminate with the Big Bash, the Independence Day Parade, followed by fireworks over the bay. All the merchants would benefit, including the woman clipping down the sidewalk in bright red heels and a white sleeveless dress with bold swaths of color across the front. Members of the Shaw family had been forces to be reckoned with in the Good Hope business community since Victorian times. Max noticed several men checking her out as she passed by. Eliza didn't spare them a second glance. Though Max was usually drawn to dark-haired women, Eliza's beauty left him cold. As she drew close, he lifted a hand in greeting. She gave an almost imperceptible nod of acknowledgement. The slight frown on her classically sculpted face disappeared when she stopped to speak with the Cherries' board president, Lynn Chapin. Oh, great, Max thought. She's bringing back up. Good morning. He smiled warmly when Eliza concluded her conversation and drew close. Will Lynn be joining us later? No, the brunette snapped. As if realizing she'd crossed the line into rudeness, she offered a smile and added in a cordial tone, I asked Lynn to join us, but she had another meeting scheduled. That's too bad. Max liked Lynn, but dealing with Eliza was enough of a challenge. Opening the door to the bakery, he stepped aside to let her enter. You're ready to discuss my recommendations? Eliza's short nod sent her bob swinging like a dark curtain before falling back into place. That and several other matters of importance. I'll be updating Lynn later today on the results of our conversation. What other matters do? Not yet. Her razor-sharp voice sliced the air. Max clenched his jaw so tightly it ached. Sorry. I'm not fit for cordial conversation until I've got at least 2 shots of espresso in me. Eliza flashed a smile that didn't reach her eyes and moved directly to the counter. A mocha and a cherry Danish. Hadley Newhouse, Amy's second-in-command, manned the counter. Her long, honey-blonde hair was pulled back in a low tail. Though he knew she often worked late at the Flying Crane, Hadley looked bright and cheery in a hot pink t-shirt that proclaimed, Baking Up Some Love, the new slogan for Bloom's Bake Shop. Coming right up. Have a seat and I'll bring it out.